Hare Krishna. So today is very auspicious August appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. So we will discuss on this very auspicious days about the glories of predecessor Acharya. We are indebted to them, we are obliged to them. To invoke his mercy is only the purpose of life. As Narottam Das Thakur sing, Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Bas. Our purpose, mission of life to serve the predecessor Acharya in association with devotees. So on these notes, we will start discussing about a great Acharya in our disciplic succession. We are so much blessed, we are so much fortunate to come from a disciplic succession where such a great stalwart like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared. So before we start, we will offer our humble obeisance, offer Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnana Anjana Salakaya Chakkhuranumilitanjena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena bhu-tale Soyam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Srijuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanam Cha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalitam Sri Vishakham Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrivascha Kurpa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanabhya Vaishnavya Namo Namah Namo vishnu-padaya krishna-preshthaya bhu-tale Srimati Bhakti-vedanta Swamiti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much. Today is very auspicious August appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is our predecessor Acharya. He is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So today we are going to discuss about this great Acharya, because this great Acharya is always worshipable, even more worshipable than Krishna. We cannot jump over Krishna, neglecting or overlooking Acharya. Krishna never pleased, neither accepted our devotion, our worship. Krishna says, Madhavakta Pujyadika. Krishna says that, Jomi, in Adi Purana, Krishna says that, Madhavaktanam Jomi Bhaktya Sami Jukta Tamamataha. My devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee, is the factual devotee. So today is our very auspicious day to glorify the activities, the work of our predecessor Acharya. The Acharyas, they are not born. This is called Abhirbhava, appearance day. They are not born according to their own karma, but they have come down. They have been sent. They are the representative of the Lord. And Lord has got mission, as he disclosed in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamaya. His mission is to establish the religious principle. When there is a discrepancy in execution of Krishna consciousness, Lord himself descends. Sometimes he sends his representative. So all the Acharyas are the true representative. They have come, they have been sent by the Lord to fulfill the mission of the Lord, to execute the mission of the Lord. Therefore, we do not say they are born, they appeared. They are empowered soul. So Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati is also a very empowered soul. So before we understand the Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati and glories, we will go back to the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavajam, history of our disciplic succession. When Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityaja, this is a concluding statement of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna demands and wants, when Krishna is convincing, conversing to everyone that Sarva Dharman Parityaja mam ekam saranam bhaja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mukhyasami. At that time, Krishna has a condition that one has to surrender in order to get out from this obnoxious material miseries. But nobody surrenders. Nobody knows how to surrender, and nobody is interested to surrender. Particularly in this age of Kali, people are very much, atheistic attitudes. To deliver the conditioned soul, particularly in this deplorable, debilitating age of Kali, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared with a two mission. Krishna has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has two missions. One mission is that to taste this devotional service, to experience the devotional service. So he has come as a Channa Avatar, as a devotee, to taste that what is this devotional service that attracts Krishna. What is the? Because as a Krishna, he was the object of worship, he is the enjoyer. But now he has come as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants to experience what is to be enjoyed, how the devotee gets pleasure, gets ecstatic, what is there in devotional service, what is the essence and quintessence of devotional service. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. This is stated in a beautiful verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In these beautiful verses in Adi 4, 15 and 16, it's a very nice verses. One should remember this verse, very important verses. So this is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that प्रेम रस नैराश्य करिते आस्वादन राग मार्ग भक्ति लोके करिते प्रचारन रसिक शेखर कृष्ण परम करुणा एई दुई हेतु होइते इच्छार उद्गम. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has got two desire. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate the devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus he is known as supremely jubilant, as the most merciful of all. Because here people do not know how to surrender, and people are not qualified. They cannot even take the name of prema, love of Godhead, bhakti. They cannot even take such abominable, deplorable, debilitating age of Kali, age of quarrel and discrepancy. People are not interested. Bhagavatam also say that in this age of Kali, people, they are totally indifferent. In this beautiful verse 12:30, terrified about to die, man collapsed on the bed. Although his voice is faltering and he is hardly conscious what he is saying, if he utters the holy name of Supreme Lord, he can be freed from reaction of his fruitive work, achieve the supreme destination. But still people in this age of Kali will not worship Supreme Lord. So they were so fallen. This is a fallen age. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to taste the devotional service, also to propagate this highest love of Godhead. How to attain this love of Godhead? How to attain Krishna? So he was discriminating. His mission was to preach, to somehow and or inspire everyone. Jena tena prakarena Krishna mana nivasate. Somehow and other bring people to Krishna, surrendering to Krishna. That was his mission. His mission was that prithivite ache jatya nagaradi karma sarvatra pachara hoive moranam. Every town and village on the surface of the globe, the name of the Lord should be propagated. So that was his mission, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu movement, sum and substance of the movement, to preach this Krishna consciousness. That was the mood and modus operandi of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he practically demonstrated. And that is his desire also. And to carry forward that desire, there are 6 Goswami in Vrindavan, headed by Sanatan, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Jiva Goswami. They carry forward, particularly Rupa Goswami. Sri Caitanya manobhistam sthapitam jana bhu-tale soyam rupa kadamahyam dadati swapadantika. Rupa Goswami, to establish the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to preach everyone, to reclaim the conditioned soul from this ocean of nescience. So they preach Krishna consciousness. That was our mood. Because people are rotting and rotating in this material world. They do not know what is their identity. They do not know even how to get out. They are so full. Due to ignorance, this is stated in these beautiful verses. So due to ignorance only, Rishabhadev is saying that how people are suffering, because they do not know what is the ultimate goal. In 5.5.16 of Bhagavatam, Rishabhadev is giving a beautiful statement. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know anything about his real self-interest. The auspicious path in the life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desire, and all his plans are made for this purpose, or for temporary sense gratification. Such a person creates a society of envy. Due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about this. This is the ignorance. People do not know. Nati viddu swata gatimi vishnu vrasaya bhairartha manina. They were so much captivated by the glare of this material world, the glamour of the material world. They forgotten their purpose of life to vishnu-padam avapnoti. To understand Vishnu, to go back to him, to back to Godhead. So that has been entrusted to the Sis Goswami. And Sis Goswami has carried forward very nicely. They have 4 things has been instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one of them to preaching the glory, another is to write books and all, and one more thing is to establish the temple. In this way they have been entrusted all the work, and they did it. And particularly Jiva Goswami has written, every Acharya has written 100 and 1,000 of literature, full of knowledge, full of the, Vedic knowledge to show us, to enlighten us, to educate us, how to get out from this nations. That was the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the mission of Krishna. And that is the mission of Sada Goswami, Sis Goswami in Vrindavan. But down the line, there was another 3 acharyas who also carry forward this work. Because that time there was no print machine, there was no scan machine, there is no Xerox copy. So they have to write everything in a bark of tree. And there is no Xerox copy, scan copy they can do. In order to make another copy, they have to again write everything, and without mistake. So that was very tedious process. Jiva Goswami wanted to make a copy so that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu message will be spread everywhere. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission will be spread everywhere to help people. Therefore, Krishna is always extremely magnanimous. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavadane, very munificent. He wanted to reclaim every conditioned soul, irrespective of their status, spiritual and material status. There is no discrimination. There is no qualification. Sthana, sthana, vichara nahi. There is no sthana, asthana, who is qualified, who is not qualified. Everybody is allowed to admit it. So to carry forward that mission, Jiva Goswami has three disciples, Sikkha Guru. He was the Sikkha Guru of three disciples, three great personality, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya and Shyamananda Prabhu. So they were entrusted to write, make a copy of everything, thousands copy of the literature, to educate people, enlighten people about Krishna consciousness, the science of Godhead, how to go back to Godhead, how to terminate this excruciating pain of material existence. So they were entrusted. And after the all Goswami disappeared, after these three great stalwart, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda, Srinivasa Acharya disappeared. Then there was a very gloomy period in this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaudiya Vaishnava succession, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. There was no one to carry forward the pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not only that, on the pretext of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is stated that when pure bhakti is absent, then on the pretext of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, so many people pops up, so many sampradaya, upasampradaya pops up. They have manipulated, they have contaminated, they have adulterated, they have alloyed this pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aula, Baula, Sakhi Beki, they are all this upasampradaya, they are on the pretext of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are doing all these bad things, all these concocted things. They have introduced that no, a Brahmana, unless one is born in Brahmana, he cannot become preacher, he cannot do anything, he cannot be a Vaishnava. They have introduced this Sahajya way of worshipping. They dress themselves as a gopis, Krishna, and they enacted, they copy, they imitate the pastime of the Lord. So now the impression of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission was in very, very dangerous situation, because it was been, it was adulterated by such a deviant sect of Sampradaya. And during this 15th century to 18th century, it was a very gloomy period. People have a very bad impression. Then at that time there was a great stalwart Acharya appeared. Then he is known as Bhakti Vinod Thakur. See, he wanted to not only to preach, but he wanted to re-establish this pristine message, the pure message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and expose all this deviant. There are 13 deviant sects. He was such a strict follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Sampradaya. He never compromised Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He was the magistrate under the British government. That time, early 19th century, we are under British, India was under the subjugation of British colonial. And he was A British a magistrate, district magistrate, is just like, as close to the power of governor. It's like a governor of a district, and also the superintendent of Jagannath Puri. He was posted in Puri, and that time there was a so-called Swami Yogi Vishikesan. He presented himself as God and offended Lord Jagannath and doing all kind of nonsense things, illicit things. That time Bhakti Vinod Thakur never compromised. He arrested him at the cost, and he is yogi. He cursed the Bhakti Vinod Thakur, so that whole family fell in sick. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur never compromised. At the cost of their lives, at the cost of the tribulation, troubles of his family and himself, he never compromised. This kind of offender, impostor. But eventually that Swami suicided, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur came out victorious. And he wanted to preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the pristine pure message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he was all alone. He could not do that all alone. He was having magistrate duty. He was a profuse writer. He writing so many books, so many poems to glorify the Lord, to spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he was all alone. So he was praying the Lord. He has few children, but he was praying the Lord, please, you may not come, but your ray of Vishnu, your ray, one ray, please give me. That is enough, sufficient for me to preach the pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone. So he was praying like that, and that time in 1974, just 148 years before, there was a child born to Bhakti Vinod Thakur and his mother Padmavati. In 1874, February 6, in Puri, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born as a Bimala Prasad. Bimala Prasad means is a mercy of the Bimala. Actually, in Jagannath Puri, the system is that every prasadam is offered to Jagannath, and after has been offered to Jagannath, then it goes to Bimala Devi, offered to the Bimala Devi, who was a place in the courtyard, who has a place in courtyard. Then it become Mahaprasad, because that was a story that this Bimala, this Durga, he wanted to Parvati, he wanted to taste the prasadam of Jagannath, but somehow he could not get it because it was finished, and he was praying the Lord that let me taste your prasadam. So Lord has given blessings that in Kali Yuga, when I appeared at Lord Jagannath, you will be appeared along with me. So all the prasadam, whatever I offer, the remnant of the prasadam, when it comes to you, then that become Mahaprasad. So in this way, so it was a Bimala Prasad, the mercy of the Lord. And at that time, in February 6, he was born, and at the time of birth, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has a different symptoms. The symptoms exhibited the symptoms of a Mahapurusha, Mahabhagavata. The umbilical cord, like Brahmin cord, was wrapped up in his neck. So it was a symptoms of a Mahabhagavata. Also there was so much signs in his limbs. And in July month, normally the Jagannath Rath Jatra used to conducted every month, Ashadha Mas, in the month of July. So that time Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur was only in 6 months of age. So when this his house was in the Grand Road. Currently it was called Gaudiya Math. That time it was some called Chhata or something. So that Gaudiya Math was the house of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, very near to Jagannath Puri, along the way to Gundicha temple. There is a Grand Road is there. So every day, every year, Jagannath Mahaprabhu comes out from his from the sanctum to bless everyone by ascending on the chariot. That is called a chariot festival. It usually happens for 7 days. He goes from this main temple to Gundicha temple, stay there for 7 days and return. So what happened during that period, during that year 1874? So there was a Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, and during that time the Rath cart was stopped in front of the Gaudiya Math. Usually Rath stopped every 10 minutes like this, they stopped actually. Jagannath Rath was not moved according to our pulling, but according to Lord wishes. Many instances, Lord, also many instances we have read, we have known in the history that Jagannath chariot stopped because of so many reasons. This is the will of the Lord. The cart moves. So that time somehow another cart stops in front of the Bhakti Vinod Thakur house to take the advantages. The wife of Bhakti Vinod Thakur took Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur on the chariot. That time there are so many garlands offered to the Jagannath. One of the garland fell down on the Bhaktisiddhanta. That was all indication of a Mahabhagavat. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur knew that this is the ray of Vishnu. When he was very small, there was an Annaprasan. And that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in Annaprasan ceremony, the first time they take the rice, Annaprasan. The child takes the rice, that is called Annaprasan ceremony. In Annaprasan ceremony, generally what happened, they put something else in Bhagavatam. So to know the interest of the child from the very beginning. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur crawled down to the Bhagavatam and hold it. That was all symptoms from the childhood. And one time, Bhakti Vinod Thakur bought some mangoes during summer season to offer the Lord. At that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur crawled down to the mango and he took that mango before offering. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur mildly chastised, one you should not take before offering. You first offer, otherwise it's an offense to the Lord. So he was so determined from that day till end, he never ate mango. That was the, gargantuan determination, stupendous determination of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Even from the child, he never took. He was so determined, I will not take mango henceforward. Because mango is very seasonal in India. We cannot get mango in every season, only summer season. It was the king of all fruits. He never touched mango. He used to say, I am an offender. See, a child which is he do not know and he offended, still he took it seriously. That was his determination. And in 7 years old, he was memorizing all Bhagavad Gita. Not only memorizing, he can explain the quintessential philosophy of Bhagavad Gita at the age of 7. He had a photographic memory, very tenacious memory. Once he reads, it will be written in his memory for a long time. He never forgot. Then he went to college He was very good, bright astrology, learnt astrology, astronomies, and he has written one Bhaktisiddhanta. He has compiled one. He wrote one books called Surya Siddhanta, the astronomical location position of all the stars. He found one new star also. So he was been awarded at Surya Siddhanta. But he refused to take graduate degree because he thought that if I become graduate, so many proposals will come and I have to get married. His mission was to preach Krishna consciousness. His mission was to spread this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore he refused it, and he created a very celibate group because he was a Naistic Brahmachari. Celibate group. So many people joined for somehow another reason, but eventually everybody left, he only remained. Nobody becomes celibate. Celibacy is very difficult to remain Naistic Brahmachari throughout the life. After the college, he was been awarded in Sikkim. The king of Sikkim invited him, and he was awarded to teach some astrology and some Sanskrit to his daughter, to his children. But he thought that I am wasting time. Although he joined for a few years, then he left. He thought that I am wasting time. My mission is to preach the message of Krishna. So he came back, and 10 years he went to Navadip and chanting every day 192 round. He vowed to chant. Under a cottage, he created a cottage under a cottage. And he was reading and chanting every day, 24 hours. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and asked him to go and preach. Then only he preached. Without purification, without empowerment, we cannot preach. Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Krishna Shakti binna nahi tara prachara. Without Krishna Shakti, one cannot preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore he was empowered. After empowerment, he came to the then he preached throughout the India and established 64 math. 64 math he established everywhere, every major cities. His idea of establishing math not to please the public, not to please the bhogis and yogis, to preach this message to everyone. That is whole idea. He was a lion king, lion preachers, lion guru. He never compromised. Wherever he goes, he preached very boldly the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His whole mission mood is this preaching. Jena tena prakarena. He knows the mood of Rupa Goswami. Somehow and other inspiring others to take this Krishna consciousness. Because he used to say that there is no lack in this world except Krishna consciousness. And at the cost of the matter, if I can make one devotee, that is my success. That was his mood. That how to preach, how to elevate the conditioned soul, how to bring them back to Godhead. That was the mission and mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was the mission and mood of Rupa Goswami. This was the mission and mood of Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada inherited that quality from his guru, and he did it. He went to, at the fag age, he went undergoing so much trials and tribulation to America and spread this message, pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one more thing, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati introduced the printing press, because that time it's very difficult to print. As I told, there was no scan copy, Xerox copy, so we have to write entire thing. But when printing come, it was easy. But the problem is also printing is that if you make mistake, again you have to print back whole page. But printing was very, very facilitating the preaching message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was writing profusely. There was a magazine called Harmonist. He wrote profusely about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and distributed everywhere. He was very happy if somebody distribute any of the message of Lord, any of the message, any of his books, any of his magazine, even one magazine also. He was very pleased because people are suffering due to ignorance. They are all ignorant. They do not know the purpose of life. And Vaishnavas are para-upakara. He was always thinking of how to please the Lord. This is the way of pleasing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the way of pleasing your Guru. This is the way of pleasing the disciplic succession. This is the way of pleasing Krishna. Krishna himself say that in Bhagavad Gita, that there is no one more dear who is preaching this gospel. Krishna say, Ye idam paramam guhyam madabhaktisu avadishyati avidhasyati bhaktim mayim param kritva mam evashyasi asamsaya. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotee, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, one come back to me. So that was his mission. That was the mission and mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, to propagate this gospel. Krishna say, the next verses, Nacha manusya, nacha tasman manusyesu kassin me priya kirtamaha, bhutva nacha me tasmad anya priyatra bhavi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he. Will there be one more dear? So the mission of Vaishnavas, mission of Acharya, to spread this message. Paropakar, to help others. That was the mission and mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He never discriminated. Patra vichara nahi, sthana vichara nahi. Anybody comes, he was distributing the highest love of Godhead, krishna-prema, to everyone, without any consideration of any qualification. Rupa Goswami has the same mood. Jena tena prakarana manaha Krishna. Somehow or other inspire others to come or fix their mind on Krishna. That was the mission. Therefore it is said that this beautiful verses is there. It says that this Vaishnavas Acharya, the devotees, those are pure devotees, their mission is, their mood should be like this. O my Lord, great philanthropic soul, travel on the earth on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead, to show compassion to the fallen soul who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Lord demands that sarvadharman parityaja, you surrender unto me, I will deliver you from this material nescience. But they are averse to the sense of subordination. They claim that Lord is too much demanding. So to show the compassion to the fallen soul, this great philanthropic soul, great Acharya, they travels, they go, they preach. Their life is all about delivering the conditioned soul. They are concerned about other people, paropakara. That was the mood, a devotee, a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission who claims to be, I am from a disciplic succession of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They should imbibe this mood and modality and modus operandi of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. Preaching is our essence, quintessence, nothing else. Living matter. We do not want a matter for comfort living. We want a living matter. That was the statement. Living matter where we can preach the Krishna consciousness. Krishna himself claims that. I am not naham vaikunthe vasami na jogina uddaye. Tatra tishtami na arada jatra gayanti mada bhakta. Krishna always pleased wherever there is a glorification of his activities, pastime, appearance. So that was the mission, to spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread the glories of Krishna to every living entities. Therefore they are glorified even more than this Krishna, because they have come down to fulfill the mission of Lord, to facilitate, to help in the mission of, on behalf of the mission of Supreme Lord. In the beautiful verses in Bhagavatam say that, O my Lord, O great devotee, person like you move from one place to another not for their own interest but the sake of poor-hearted grihastha householder. Otherwise they have no interest in going from one place to another. Just like Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakura, they were preaching indiscriminately. They go every places. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur travelled all over the India. Srila Prabhupada travelled all over the world. Only one purpose, for their, not for their own interest or sightseeing, but for the sake of poor-hearted grahastha, those who are so much averse to sense of subordination, averse to surrender to Krishna, averse to take Krishna consciousness. Therefore they are very venerable, reverend. Therefore we are all obliged, indebted. We are celebrating their appearance day. Without them, we cannot know what is the mood, modality, modus operandi, what is the attitudes of a devotee. And they are not only glorified, they are glorified by the Lord Himself. They are glorified not only from all this normal human being in general population, but all, even Lord glorify them. My dear King Yudhishthira, the Brahmanas, especially those engaged in preaching of the glories of the Lord throughout the entire world, are recognized, worshipped by Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the heart and soul of all creation. The Brahmanas, by their preaching, sanctify three worlds with the dust of their lotus feet. Thus they are worshipable even for Krishna. Krishna said, Madhavakta Pujyadhika, my devotee is more worshipable than myself itself. Even for Krishna. Krishna himself said that, I purify the three worlds by the dust of my devotee. In this 11th canto, he spoke to Uddhava actually. 11:29 3. He spoke to Uddhava. These beautiful verses. He spoke to Uddhava that one who liberally disseminates this knowledge among my devotees, bestower of absolute truth, to him I give my very own self. Krishna says, I give my very own self to a preacher who preaches these glories. So our movement is a preaching movement. Our movement is somehow or other we inspire others to take Krishna consciousness. Then our business is successful, Prabhupada said. That was the mood one should imbibe. And that was stated in a beautiful verses from Bhagavatam, that unless one is concerned about other welfare, he cannot have admission to the, he cannot have an entrance to Vaikuntha. In this beautiful verse it says that the self-effulgent Vaikuntha planet, by whose illumination alone all the illuminating planets within this material world give up their reflected light, cannot be reached by those who are not merciful to other living entity. Vaishnava means always merciful to other living entity. Only person who constantly engage in welfare activities for others living entity can reach the Vaikuntha planet. That was the mood. That was the mood of a Vaishnava. Prahlad Maharaj was, when he was been offered to go back to Vaikuntha, he outrightly rejected. My Lord, no. I do not want to go alone. I want to take all of them. They were so much captivated by Maya Sukha. Beautiful verses, 7th canto. 7943. He says that, O best of the great personality, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay I am fully absorbed in thought of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for the material happiness, maintaining their family, society, country. I am simply concerned with love for them. People are so much averse, they turn away from the God. They are thinking they do not need God, God is dead, God is no more relevant. They are happy with their family, children, home, society, country. They have no idea they are going to hell. They have to give up all this so-called, home, sweet home. It is stated in beautiful verses in 11 canto, that 11.5.18, it is stated that what is their position? Those who have turned away from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, being under the spell of Lord's illusory energy, are eventually forced to give up their so-called homes, children, wives, lovers, which are all created by illusory potency of Supreme Lord, enter against their will into the darkest region of the universe. They go to darkest region, they have no idea. Therefore, to help them, the great people, the great philanthropic people, the great devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, he does not want to go himself. No, I want to, my concern is only for the fools and rascals. I do not want to go alone. I want to take them with me. In next verses also very nicely say that my dear Lord Nrsimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Monabrata. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these fools and rascals, poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. No way to happy without Krishna consciousness. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to Godhead at your lotus feet. So that was the statement of the Prahlad Maharaj, that this devotee, how he is concerned, he does not want to go alone. There are many devotees, they are Bhajananandi, they are after their own liberation. But those who are Goshtiyanandi, the preachers, they are very elevated, they are called Acharyas. The Bhajananandi, they are never labeled as Acharya. They are after own vimukta, own liberation. Prayana deva munaya vimukta kamaha. They are ambitious for liberation from this material world, the personal liberation. But the Goshtiyanandi, the preachers, they are called Acharyas. They are concerned about others. They want to take them, they want to help them to go back. Without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of the Lord, nobody can be happy. They are trying to be happy in a illusory world, illusory happiness, which is temporary by nature. Nasti buddhir aduktasa nacha duktasya bhavana. Without connecting Krishna, one cannot be. So therefore, this is the mood of the Acharya, this is the mood of the Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. When he met Prabhupada 1922, first thing he told to Prabhupada that when you preach to the English speaking world and print books, he always liked the printing books. It's called Brihad Murdanga. A Murdanga can be heard locally, but Brihad Murdanga, the books, can be heard universally. Brihad, bigger Murdanga. The sound will be there to everybody. Everybody get a books and they can elevate. So that was his mood, his preaching mood. So everybody on this very auspicious occasion of appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one should imbibe that. Prabhupada used to say that before even disappearance, 1936, December 31st, before 2 weeks of disappearance, Prabhupada wrote a letter that how I can serve you. He replied immediately, you preach to the English speaking Western world and print books, Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada took up this one and he went and accomplished. So here we can know that how the mood of acharyas, we should imbibe that, we should preach according to our capacity, we should preach, we should hear and preach, we should practice ourselves and preach to others. That was the mood. That was the mood of all acharyas, the great acharyas, mood of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. And Prabhupada used to say, he initiated me in 1933 and he told that I noticed that he has a propensity to hear and sit down here. That is very important. Without hearing from the spiritual master, one cannot preach. First qualification is to hear. So he was hearing. So he elected me to be initiated. And one time he was giving in Radha Kund class, and everybody went to see all these temples. Nobody was hearing Bhaktisiddhanta. When they came back, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that, do you know what about your eye exercise? What is this eye exercise? We went to temple to see the Lord. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati replied that, first of all, you know how to see the Lord. First of all, here you should educate that how to see the Lord. Lord is not seen by eyes but through ears. That was stated in these beautiful verses in 3, 9, 11, that in Bhagavatam, that Lord is seen not through the eyes but through the ears. But our eyes cannot appreciate, our eyes is not pure. So we have to hear in order to purify. It is said that, O my Lord, your devotee can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing. Thus their hearts become cleansed and you take seat there. Unless one is purified, unless one heart is purified, free from contamination of the material pursuit, one cannot approach God. Therefore, to purify the heart, you have to hear from a bona fide hearing and bona fide source, bona fide spiritual master. Sinvatam sokotha Krishna punya sravana kirtana hudantustani abhadrani vidunati srisata. Therefore, he was very much stressing, emphasizing on spreading this message so that everybody will get a chance to hear and purify the heart, then can take shelter of the Lord. Without purifying the heart, nobody can take shelter. Krishna says, Jesante antagatam panam antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam tedanda mohanin muktam bhajanti mam duddhavata. Those whose heart is contaminated, bhogo ischara prasaktanam tai aprahat chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhiyus vyavasayatmika samadho na vidhyate. So their Krishna consciousness cannot be aroused because heart is still contaminated. Thus the Krishna consciousness is a process of purification. Purify the heart. Therefore, all these acharyas, they know that people are suffering due to ignorance. They do not know to educate them, to purify their heart, to bring them again to the shelter of Krishna. Their lives has been dedicated. So they are glorified therefore, not only by general public, but by Krishna himself. Krishna declared that Acharya mam bijaniyan. Acharyas are not different from me. That was the statement of Krishna. In these beautiful verses 11, 17, 27, Krishna say, Acharya mam vijaniyan, na abhimanata karchit, na matya buddha ashrute, sarvadeva maya guru. One should know the Acharya as myself, never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all demigods. That is Acharya. Krishna himself certifies them that they are non-different. Jasya prasada bhagavat prasada, jasya prasada nagati kutam. By the mercy of implicit faith in spiritual master and Krishna, one can get all the knowledge, all the understanding, all the purport will be revealed, and all the success will be there. Without acharyas, we cannot go back to God. Krishna de tomara, Krishna de te para, tomara sakati achi, amita kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, dhya-sri rupanuga-bhaktida. We have no spiritual strength, no spiritual education, only seeking the mercy of Acharya like Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur in order to get. He was not after the construction of temple matha, he was after the preaching, and he told to Prabhupada that if I have the power, I want to take out all this marble from the mat and sell it to print books, to spread the message, pristine message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are all re-established the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise it was going away, slipping away. So therefore on this very auspicious occasion, we pray to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati to shower blessings so that we can imbibe his mood and practice the message, instruction of our spiritual master and predecessor Acharya in association of devotee, and preach to everyone. That is the mission. First of all, assimilation of the knowledge carefully from a bona fide source, put into practice, then disseminating this knowledge. That makes us successful in our spiritual life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All goes to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Avirbhava Mama Uchchava ki jai. The transcendental appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.